4 DS games on Tuesday. And by the way, this may be completely obnoxious. The teams we lost the Blue Jays, we lost the Mets, we lost the Cardinals, and we lost the Rays. We had a lot of fun baseball this weekend, taking those 4 teams out and then putting in the Dodgers and the Braves and the Astros and the Yankees. The level of baseball goes up just another baby notch. That's going to be a lot of fun. And we are starting off with, how about a little East Coast matchup, Trev? Your Phillies, this team we've wanted to see in the playoffs. They go into St. Louis and get it done. They're not going to be scared when they're behind. They had their crazy ninth inning rally. Their horses did their work. But the big bad wolf and the defending champs are waiting for them. The Atlanta Braves, rested, ready to go. Every facet of the game, the Braves, they don't have a weakness. Like when I think of their offense, defense, starting pitching, relief pitching, the Braves do not have a weakness. Where do you jump with this series, Trev?
I think, both these teams know each other really well. Obviously, interdivision. The season series was 11 wins of 19. So 11-8. The Braves went against the Phillies. I don't know if you really care about that much. Do you care about that?
I think it's more impactful when we get into some of the other series that are a little more dominant. I mean, regular season, there's ebbs and flows to it that, certain players are hurt or your bullpen gets beat up the series before that you don't have to deal with that in the playoffs. So I think what I get from that is the Braves won the regular season series, but the Phillies have no reason to be intimidated if they lose the first game, like, oh, it's happening again. Like, no, I think they know they can beat this team.
Yeah, and the way the Phillies won that series, getting it in 2 games, allowing them to keep Ranger Suarez ready for game 1 here, I think is important. One of the bigger advantages of getting the bye is being able to line your pitching up. These guys are rested. They're going to be fine. The bullpen's rested for the Phillies. And now you go Ranger, and then I believe they're going Wheeler and then Nola. That's a nice first 3 games. It's going to match up against the Braves, who have an excellent first 3 games lined up with, I think it's Fried, Wright, and then I believe Morton. They're going to go game 3. We have to see what's going on with Strider, who just signed a massive deal extension. We're excited about that. It's going to be a great series. I agree. I don't think the Braves have any holes. If you were looking at the Phillies, you would say their defense and their bullpen is where they're, disadvantaged at, but they played great
right
in a short series against the Cardinals. So what do we know, man? We know that baseball is going to happen. A-Rod said it best. I always got to quote that guy. He has some of the all-timers.
Love reading.
And aesthetically pleasing. I would put this at like a 6.5 out of 10. Kind of got a little bit of like early 90s feel to it, which I like. That's back in vogue these days. A little too much red for me still.
Mike Lieberthal behind the dish.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So a couple things going on here. Spencer Strider is either a big circle or a little circle. Because if the Braves come out and thump and dominate, they may not need Spencer Strider. Spencer Strider was probably their best pitcher against the Phillies this year. 4-0 with a 1.27. The early returns they're expecting him to be available for the NLDS. They need to see him throw again. I don't know if that's today. We will see. But yeah, they just gave him an extension, and I don't know. Young guy. I normally, for the younger folks, I like to assume that they're young and healthy, and these guys are kind of superhuman in their own ways. That I'm going to lean that Spencer Strider could be there, but I don't know.
Fernando Tatis Jr., famously slow healer.
Well, bad bones. Bad bones and bad muscles on one of the best athletes in the world. Trev, the other thing that, and I don't want to harp on this too much in every series, so I guess it's just a theme for the teams that were in the wild card. The bump-a-bum, the flip the script. If they win game 1 in Atlanta, and there's a couple factors in play here. It's baseball and anything can happen on any given day. It's part of what makes it, the best sport. Day games this year, Braves not very good, and they've got the 107 game. We'll see if that matters at all, if you believe in that. The Braves hitters haven't seen live pitching in a little bit. We've seen that affect teams before. It's been a little while. The Phillies played over this weekend. And if they can steal the Ranger-Suarez game, which, crazier things have happened in baseball, although Max Fried, your boy, is nice, then you have your guys, Nola and Wheeler, getting ready to go in those middle games. That is what I'm looking to watch for, and I'm scared about for my Yankees too, so I'm not trying to put the fear of Braves into. But that's what I'm excited to see in these DS series, to see who can kind of flip the script on them, because that can become daunting real quick.
Yeah, I think what we need to look out for is the length of the starting pitcher's line. Like, this is a series now, 5 games, where, bullpen fatigue can come into play. And that short 3-game set, like, maybe it's going to happen. But if you have a bad start by one of your guys in the first couple nights and you don't have an innings eater and you're going with your bullpen and then you bring him into high leverage the next day, like, you start to get taxed a little bit. I think this is the time now we need to keep an eye on that. With the starters that we have going these first 3 games, I don't think it's going to be a problem, to be honest with you. We've seen starting pitching be dominant in the playoffs so far. But both these teams can hit homers. And that's what wins you playoff games. This is going to be a battle. I don't think the Braves look at that regular season record and say, oh, yeah, we're going to easily handle these guys. Because I think the Phillies are getting hot at the right time. Like I said, the deficiencies, like, they were fine. Alec Boehm outplayed Nolan Arenado defensively at third base.
Crazy.
Think about that. That's that Philly infield D that BBD knew about before everybody else. But this is going to be good. I think I like inner division playoff matchups. Like, there's history there. There's like a little bit of animosity. It's like you've seen enough of these guys. I think it creates like storylines and drama that you wouldn't have otherwise if 2 teams that don't really ever play each other.
Yeah, and that's sometimes when teams play each other a lot, you just become very familiar. If there's a funky guy in the bullpen, guess what? You've seen his funk, and you know what that's about. I'm interested to see how that ties into this series, because that's where the appeal of the Phillies, as we've talked about for years, their dude factor is off the chart. Between Bryce and your boy Reeser and JT Realmuto and Castellanos and Schwarbo. I mean, that guy can ruin a playoff series for you real quick. Alec Boehm, we're having a Bowman in these playoffs. Gene,
that group you just want to go to a football game and slug beers with. That is.
Let's do it.
Maybe more than any other clubhouse in the big leagues. That clubhouse is like, let's go tailgate and have fun. Does that mean anything to you? Probably not.
Probably not. Man,
how does that factor in the ball game, Jake?
If they steal game 1, let's dream a little bit. If they steal game 1,
don't say steal game 1. They win game 1. They're not going to steal shit. Ranger-Suarez is a hell of a pitcher. This is a hell of a baseball team. It's not stealing anything. Is winning the game.
Game 2 can kind of become their house money game. You throw Syndergaard, you throw Gibby, and see what happens. Do you just leave Nola and Wheeler for 3 and 4 in Philly and say, if we take one in Atlanta, that's really interesting to me.
Why would you do that?
Because
why would you give them a chance to tie the series up? I don't think so, dude. I think they have the rotation set. And they want, so I think it'll end up being Ranger and then those 2 horses, and then some combination of Syndergaard and maybe Falter or Gibby, whatever they have to do there, and then Suarez will get the ball game 5 again, I'm assuming.
Well, let's get there. Anything else from this series that feels important we haven't touched on? I mean, it's funny for me with the Braves, like, it's almost like there's not any wild cards. It's like you and me stepping in front of the mic.
There is.
Watch out for this guy. You kind of know these guys. They're the defending champs.
I'll tell you what you have to look out for, Jake. Okay, because this is what I do. It's my job.
Yep.
The closers. I know I've told Braves fans, don't worry about Kenley. He can be streaky. That could go both ways though. Like, he could put some runners on. I don't think you might have an immaculate inning from Kenley. You
Hmm.
also might have a bunch of runners on. I kind of just like there's no in between there. And I think the same thing you can say about Eflin. I love Eflin. You know he's my guy. I'm curious to see if he's going to end the postseason as their de facto closer. Is David Robertson going to step in and get that role? Sir Anthony Dominguez kind of look nasty there a little bit. So there's some options. I don't think that Topper like has told Eflin, "You're my ninth inning guy." I think he's going to ride the hot hand. Eflin's got the job done so far. But I think the end of the game shuffle where they're going to use who they consider to be their high leverage guy. I think we'll have to look at that because if there is on either side, and I know Atlanta's bullpen is not like it's not like a bad situation for them, but I'd say that it's probably their weakest situation. No,
I mean, man, that's
good, but you know what? Forget that. They're set. But for the Phillies, I mean, I think that is where you have to look is the bullpen. How is that bullpen going to perform? I think Atlanta's will get the job done.
I believe in Atlanta's bullpen. Matzek, McHugh, Minter, Iglesias, Jansen. It just ties into the bullpen is the most volatile position in baseball. It can come and go instantly, and playoffs are just as volatile that, Raisel Iglesias, who I think is his relief pitching stuff is what if I could take an MLB player's body and have their stuff for a day, it would be Raisel. I love his pitch mix. If he comes in and Harper takes him up top and then Bohm takes him up top, his next outing, like he's got the shortest leash in the building because it's playoff baseball and it's totally different. So I don't know, man. It's where these Braves, I made my Christmas Day bet that they would run it back. Trying to figure out what this team's weakness is challenging.
Yeah, exactly.
And that
they
means
don't really
they're really
have one.
good. That means
Jesse
really
Chavez is going to get some massive outs for them, and we're all going to cheer because he's a national hero.
Because he's that guy.
Skinniest legs in the show. Him and Tristan McKenzie probably are.
Ooh.
1-1.
Dr. Sticks. That's a lean fighting machine. Who do you have in this series, Trey?
We're doing that? Oh, man. I think the Braves are just kind of too well-rounded. I don't think this is like an easy call. Like I think the Phillies could win this series. Like I think they could be the team that just gets hot at the right time. But I think the Braves are just like we pointed out. I was trying to find a weakness and was reminded of just how many horses they have in that pen. So they don't really have a weakness. So I'll take the Braves. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think there's going to be some good games, but overall, I think their depth of talent just kind of wins out.
Yeah, I'll go Braves in 4. They're stacked. They're confident.
They're relentless, bro.
They've got a good mix of like young and hungry with experience. Like, the fact that I'm seeing, I know these guys didn't have their best seasons and, baseball, you run hot and cold. I guess think about what we just said about Josh Bell and Trent Grisham. Those guys had a couple good games and they were massive threats. The bottom of this Braves lineup right now is Marcelo Zuna and Eddie Rosario. Like, Eddie Rosario got CS MVP last year.
Yeah.
Like, he can...
he's ready for the lights.
Poppy. I mean, he's ready. Vamo.
Yeah.
This Braves team picked it up at the end of the year. Similar to last year, right? Like, since June 1st, I think they were best record in baseball. They caught the Mets. They've been playing meaningful games, and this is what their whole season has been built up for. Phillies probably catch one. They're really talented in those top 2 starters, but I believe in the Braves. I believe in the Braves, and I think most people do.
Eddie Rosario, I know it's boosted by a big NLCS that he did win the MVP of, but overall his postseason numbers, 92 plate appearances, he's got a 993 OPS. Compared to what does he have career, regular season?
Give me 770.
767. You lost on Price is Right. Don't.
Yeah, I went over. That's my bad. I love Eddie Rosario. And I don't think OPS sums up who he is as a player enough because he's not on base.
I would have went $1 on your ass right there.
But he can hit. And and there's 6 guys ahead of him that mashed better than him this year.
Hey, prove us wrong, Phillies. Prove us wrong.
Love it. Be the bad guys. That's where, and Trev, as we dive further deeper into these series, the favorites are strong, and they've been kind of the top 4 big dogs all year, along with the Mets. And we know the baseball playoffs are going to rear their head, and it's just a matter of,
which one?
Is it the Phillies? Is it the Guards? Is it, see us rise?
Baseball.
Trev, all of this playoff action is brought to you by DraftKings. NFL action is in full effect. So are the playoffs, man. If there's a time, if you want to play some bets, you can find games to do it on. And if you find an NFL game you like, pick an NFL team to win, bet $5. You'll get $200 in free bets if they do. Their same game parlays are super easy to do. Hell, find a couple baseball games. Find something you like. A couple unders here and there, playoff pitching.
Follow my picks in the JMATS League. I'm on fire.
Got mine this week. Whoops. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code JOMBO to get $200 in free bets if your team wins when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code JOMBOY. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.